In today's video, I'm showing off how I made a Vampire Survivor clone in Godot. I made it in C#, but this would work with GDScript or C++ if you're using Project Genova. And this is not a complete game, this is just the basics, but to understand how to make it, we have to start at the beginning. So the first thing I did was downloaded a few free asset packs online and made a tile map for the background, and then created a character body 2D and gave it these animated sprites so it can run around like this. And in the code, I gave it 4 directions based on which axis you're moving on, and from there I play a different animation so the character looks correct in every direction it runs. And all asset packs in this video will be linked in the description below. So the next thing I did was add this health bar. The health bar is a progress bar that's attached to the player, and the player has a health score, which is a variable, and this influences what the health bar reads. And for right now, we increase health when you move up and decrease it when you move down. But this doesn't last long, as the next thing I do is add an orc enemy to the game. This orc chases the player around, and when it collides with the player, it deals damage. And the way this works is the orc is also a character body 2D, and by subtracting your position and the orc's position, it is able to pathfind towards you. And then in the player code, whenever a body enters its area 2D, if it's the orc, which we detect by damage, then we subtract damage from our health, and we apply knockback. Then we apply a self-modulate to change the color of the character to be red temporarily. Alright, the next thing I do is add a weapon for the player. So this is just an arrow that will periodically spawn in, and it fires in the direction that you're looking. And the way this works is inside of our player, we add a timer, and when this timer times out, the timer restarts itself, and it calls this function, which spawns an arrow from a pack scene passed to the player. Then the arrow uses this code here, where it changes its rotation and direction based on a value passed in from the player, and then whenever it collides with an enemy, it deals its damage to that enemy and then destroys itself. Alright, the next thing I do is add a main menu, and you can push play or quit, and then in game, if the orc ever gets you to 0 HP, it will spit you back to a menu, but instead of saying orc survivor, it will say play again, and it will be you died. Alright, the next thing I do is add more enemies to the game, since Vampire Survivor has more than just one guy. So periodically around the map, orcs will spawn in. And the way this works is it uses a path 2D and a path follow 2D, and then in the code, I have when a timer runs, every time the timer times out, it will pick a random point along the path and spawn an orc at that location. Alright, the next thing I do is add a second progress bar to the player, and this will be an XP bar. And then whenever the orcs die, I have them drop a little potion, and when you pick up the potion, it adds XP to the XP bar. And with these level ups, whenever you fully fill up your bar, it clears and gives you an upgrade. And the upgrade is you fire an extra arrow. And the direction of the arrow is different for each one. So at level 2, you fire an arrow both forward and back. At level 3, you fire them in a triangle shape. At level 4, you fire them in all directions, etc. And now with that in play, you can run around, collect XP bottles, and then as you level up, you'll get more and more arrows. So that is it for the video. This is not a complete game. You could add a timer and like a win condition once you get to a certain amount of time, more enemies, and more power-ups. But I hope you enjoyed, and if you want to watch more C# Godot content, you should click on this video here where I make a 3D character controller. And until next time, see ya.